Hello everybody, happy morning. It's Donna from Enchanted. So what I have done is I have done a smattering of planting here, purely because the hollyhocks were looking so gorgeous when they were young, and I wanted to get them in early so that they could establish, and then I could have the lovely tall height and colour for next year, 2026. So I probably shouldn't have, but I have planted a few things. Now what I've done is, if you can look, all I've done in the middle of this pasture is I have cut an edge. So that's creating the structure. Now, just like I explained before, if you don't have a sharp edge, keeping that a definition between pasture and border. And you need to do that in your garden. It makes mowing easier. It always makes it look fabulous. Even if you're covered in weeds, it just gives it that lovely, clean, clear definition. In this border, the only thing I did have was a young hawthorn. It's a deciduous tree, so it's going to lose its leaves, but the splendour that the springtime early growth gives me is absolutely fabulous. So back in, say, June, I gave Katie a clematis. We planted it. I really didn't expect it to survive. I really didn't expect it to grow as well as it has. And I'm absolutely thrilled that it has established. This has popped up from my grandchildren. So we were throwing nasturtium seeds all over the yard and everywhere at one stage. We just had margarine tubs full of them and we were just playing with them, really. So they've popped up. I'm going to leave those there, obviously. And also the young hollyhocks are in. I'm very interested in mixing herbaceous with growing food. I have grown Jerusalem artichoke. I really like the flower, which is incredibly late. And of course, we will be harvesting the roots for consumption. So I've popped those in already. I've also popped in some very young Inga's Swedish Treasure. Personally, I love teasel. I love the structure. I love the geometric shapes, and they're just the most exquisite plant ever. And I leave these here for the flocks of goldfinches. I've plopped in a native seedling elder that I found. So I am planning a background of relative shade, because if I look at this situation, it's in full sun. Verbena bonariensis, even though it's fallen over, you can see that's virtually at the front of the border. I never try and control these chaps. I never try and restrict them to the back, because you can't. They will pop up wherever they want, as you know. This little chap is a tree that I've grown. It popped up in a pot and I just can't not plant it. So I've got that in. This is my glorious, glorious Cephalaria gigantea. I needed to establish this as a stock plant. This is where I'm going to harvest my seed from. At the end, we have a little walnut tree. I'm sure I've introduced him in one of my videos somewhere. This poor dear little tree is probably about 20 years old. It accidentally got left in a pot and it couldn't grow. It had nowhere to go, nowhere to grow. It had no nutrients and no food. So rather than die, it just kept going. It just put out a few leaves every year in this pot with that much soil. Now I've put it in the ground, it's actually beginning to look like a young walnut tree, but you can tell it's very old. Look at the size of the trunk. That's not a young tree. Not a young tree at all. I've popped in a Philadelphus at the end, more hollyhocks, and we do have some lovely Asclepias Apollo. And this is purely for pollinators to feed on. Now you'd think, wow, you've cut it, you can develop it now, Donna, you can just plant it up. But no, I can't.